Welcome to the Real Estate Vocabulary Set number 2. This vocabulary set will have 50 real estate terms with definitions that would be helpful. Before we get started, don't forget to like the video. Now let's begin.
Brokerage. Brokerage refers to the business of acting as an intermediary between buyers and sellers in a real estate transaction. A brokerage firm typically employs licensed real estate agents who work to connect buyers and sellers, facilitate negotiations, and close deals. BTSA. BTSA stands for Bonus to Selling Agent. It refers to a commission or bonus paid by the listing agent or seller to the selling agent for bringing a successful buyer to a transaction. Building line. In real estate, a building line is a line established by a local government or other entity that designates the minimum distance that a building or other structure must be set back from the street or property line. Building lines are intended to ensure that there is adequate space between buildings and that the streetscape and overall character of a neighborhood are preserved. Bundle of rights. The bundle of rights is the concept that property ownership includes a set of legal rights that can be bought, sold, and transferred. These rights include the right to use, control, transfer, and exclude others from the property. Buy down. Buy down refers to a mortgage financing technique where the buyer pays an upfront fee to lower the interest rate on the mortgage. This fee is typically paid by the seller or builder of the property to make the mortgage more affordable for the buyer. Buyer's broker. A buyer's broker, also known as a buyer's agent, is a licensed real estate agent who represents the buyer in a real estate transaction. The buyer's broker is responsible for advocating for the buyer's interest, negotiating offers, and guiding the buyer through the home buying process. Calendar year. Calendar year refers to the period of time starting from January 1st and ending on December 31st of the same year. It is commonly used to measure financial and tax years, as well as for tracking various business and personal activities. Cap. In real estate, a cap refers to the maximum amount of interest rate that can be charged on an adjustable rate mortgage during each adjustment period, or the maximum amount by which the interest rate on a bond or other loan can increase. Caps are put in place to protect borrowers from large fluctuations in interest rates and to provide stability to the market. There are typically 3 types of caps: initial, periodic, and lifetime. Capital gains. Capital gains in real estate refer to the profit earned from the sale of a property or investment. The gain is calculated by subtracting the purchase price from the selling price and is subject to capital gains tax. Capitalization. Capitalization is the process of estimating the present value of an asset or investment based on its expected future income. In real estate, capitalization refers to the process of determining the value of a property based on its net operating income and the expected rate of return on investment. Capitalization rate. The capitalization rate, or cap rate, is a measure used in real estate to estimate the potential return on an investment property. It is the ratio of the net operating income of the property to its current market value or purchase price, expressed as a percentage. The higher the cap rate, the higher the potential return on investment, but also the higher the risk. Cash out. In real estate, cash out refers to the process of refinancing a property for an amount greater than the current mortgage, resulting in cash proceeds to the borrower. This can be a useful strategy for homeowners who want to use the equity in their home for other purposes, such as home improvements or debt consolidation. CC&R. CC&R stands for Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, which are legally binding rules and regulations that govern a specific property or community. These rules can cover a wide range of topics, such as architectural standards, noise restrictions, and landscaping requirements, and are designed to maintain property values and ensure the peaceful enjoyment of the community by its residents. CCCS. In real estate, CCCS stands for the Consumer Credit Counseling Service. This is a nonprofit organization that offers assistance to individuals who are in financial difficulty, often providing advice and support for debt management and credit counseling. Real estate agents may recommend CCCS to clients who are struggling financially and need help managing their debt. Ceiling. In real estate, the term ceiling refers to the highest price that a property can sell for in the current market. It is often used in conjunction with the term floor, which represents the lowest price that a property can sell for in the current market. Together, the ceiling and floor help to define the range of possible prices for a property. Census. In real estate, a census is the official count of the population and households within a particular area, such as a city, county, or state. This information is important for real estate professionals to understand market demographics, including the number of potential buyers or renters in a given area. Additionally, census data can also help inform decisions about zoning and development regulations, transportation planning, and other aspects of community planning. Certificate of Eligibility. A certificate of eligibility is a document issued by the Department of Veterans Affairs that verifies a veteran's eligibility for a VA home loan. The certificate includes information such as the veteran's service history, discharge status, and entitlement amount. It is a crucial document that enables veterans to obtain favorable financing terms and purchase a home with little or no down payment. Chain of title. Chain of title refers to the chronological order of documents and records that trace the ownership of a property over time. It includes deeds, mortgages, liens, and other legal documents that affect the title to the property. A clear chain of title is necessary to establish legal ownership and transfer of the property. Channeling. Channeling in real estate refers to the practice of directing home buyers toward or away from certain neighborhoods based on their race, national origin, or other protected characteristics. It is a form of housing discrimination that is illegal under federal and state fair housing laws. Channeling can occur through various means, such as steering by real estate agents or advertising that implies a preference for certain types of buyers. Chattel. Chattel in real estate refers to personal property that is movable and not affixed to the land or a building. Examples of chattels include furniture, appliances, and vehicles. Chattels are typically not included in the sale of a property unless otherwise specified in the purchase agreement. Cleaning fee. A cleaning fee in real estate refers to a fee charged by a landlord or property manager to cover the cost of cleaning a rental unit after a tenant moves out. This fee is typically deducted from the tenant's security deposit and is used to cover the cost of cleaning the unit to prepare it for the next tenant. The amount of the cleaning fee varies depending on the size and condition of the unit. Clear title. Clear title in real estate refers to ownership of a property that is free of any liens, encumbrances, or legal disputes that could affect its transferability. A clear title means that the seller has the legal right to sell the property and transfer ownership to the buyer without any legal complications or third-party claims. Obtaining a clear title is a critical step in any real estate transaction. Closing. Closing in real estate refers to the final stage of a property sale where the transfer of ownership from the seller to the buyer takes place. It typically involves the exchange of funds, signing of legal documents, and recording of the transaction in public records. Closing is also known as settlement or completion and marks the end of the buying or selling process. Closing costs. Closing costs in real estate refer to the fees and expenses associated with the purchase or sale of a property that are paid at the closing. These costs can include fees for title search, appraisal, survey, attorney, mortgage application, and property insurance, among others. Closing costs are typically paid by both the buyer and the seller, and the amount varies depending on the location and the value of the property. Closing statement. A closing statement in real estate is a document that outlines the final financial details of a property sale, including the total amount of money owed by the buyer and the amount received by the seller. It lists all the credits and debits associated with the sale, such as closing costs, prorated property taxes, and mortgage payments. The closing statement is typically prepared by a closing agent or attorney and is reviewed and signed by both the buyer and the seller at the closing. Cloud on title. A cloud on title in real estate refers to any claim or encumbrance that casts doubt on the ownership of a property or affects its transferability. It can include liens, easements, outstanding mortgages, or unresolved legal disputes. A cloud on title can make it difficult to sell or refinance a property until the issue is resolved or cleared. Co-op. A co-op, short for cooperative housing, is a type of residential real estate where residents own shares in a corporation that owns the building rather than owning the physical unit itself. Co-op residents typically pay monthly maintenance fees that cover the building's expenses, including property taxes, maintenance, and utilities. Co-op boards, composed of elected residents, oversee the management of the building and the admission of new residents. Co-tenants. Co-tenants in real estate refer to multiple individuals who share the ownership of a property with equal or unequal interest. They may own the property as tenants in common, joint tenants with rights of survivorship, or tenants by the entirety, depending on the jurisdiction and the nature of the ownership. Co-tenants share the responsibility for maintaining the property, paying property taxes and insurance, and making decisions about the property's use and disposition. Collateral. Collateral in real estate refers to a property or asset that is pledged as security for a loan. It can include real property, such as a house or a piece of land, or personal property, such as a car or a valuable object. If the borrower defaults on the loan, the lender can seize the collateral and sell it to recover the outstanding debt. Commingling. Commingling in real estate refers to the mixing of personal funds with client funds or escrow funds. It is illegal and unethical for real estate agents or brokers to commingle funds because it can lead to fraud or misappropriation of funds. Real estate professionals are required to keep client funds separate from their personal funds and maintain accurate records of all transactions to ensure transparency and accountability. Commission. Commission in real estate refers to the fee paid to a real estate agent or broker for their services in facilitating the sale or purchase of a property. It is typically a percentage of sale price agreed upon by the seller and the agent or broker before the property is listed. The commission covers the cost of marketing the property, arranging showings, negotiating offers, and closing the sale. Community Reinvestment Act. The Community Reinvestment Act, CRA, is a U.S. federal law that was enacted in 1977 to encourage banks and other financial institutions to invest in low-income and underserved communities. The law requires banks to provide credit and other financial services to these communities, including affordable housing loans and small business loans, and to demonstrate their commitment to community reinvestment through regular reporting and assessment. The CRA aims to promote economic development and access to credit in historically disadvantaged areas. Comparables. Comparables, also known as comps in real estate, refer to recently sold properties that are similar in size, location, and features to a property being appraised or listed for sale. Real estate agents, appraisers, and buyers use comparables to determine the market value of a property and set a fair price. Comparables can include properties that have sold within the past 6 months or less and are located within a reasonable distance from the subject property. Compound interest. Compound interest in real estate refers to the interest earned on the principal amount of a loan, as well as on the accumulated interest over time. It can result in significant growth in the amount owed or earned on a loan or investment, particularly over long periods. Compound interest can be calculated at various intervals, such as monthly, quarterly, or annually, depending on the terms of the loan or investment. Condemnation. Condemnation in real estate refers to the process by which a government agency or other authorized entity takes private property for public use, typically through eminent domain. The property owner is usually compensated for the value of the property, but may also have legal recourse to challenge the taking or negotiate for higher compensation. Condemnation can occur for various public purposes, such as the construction of highways, public utilities, or parks. Condominium. A condominium, commonly known as a condo, is a type of residential property in which individuals own a unit within a larger building or community, as well as a share of the common areas and facilities such as swimming pools, gyms, and parking lots. Condo owners are responsible for maintaining their individual units and paying monthly fees to cover the shared expenses and upkeep of the common areas. Condominiums offer a more affordable and convenient alternative to single-family homes for many home buyers. Consideration. Consideration in real estate refers to something of value, such as money, goods, or services, that is given by one party in exchange for something of value given by another party in a contract or transaction. In a real estate sale or lease, consideration typically refers to the price or rent paid for the property. Consideration is a necessary element of a valid contract and must be sufficient to make the agreement legally enforceable. Constructive eviction. Constructive eviction in real estate occurs when a tenant is forced to move out of a rental property because the landlord has breached the lease agreement, such as by failing to maintain the property in a habitable condition or by violating the tenant's right to quiet enjoyment. The tenant may claim constructive eviction as a defense against eviction or to seek damages from the landlord. Constructive eviction is different from actual eviction, which involves the landlord physically removing the tenant from the property through legal means. Consumer Credit Counseling Service, CCCS. Consumer Credit Counseling Service, CCCS, is a nonprofit organization that offers financial education and debt management services to consumers, including those who are struggling with mortgage payments. CCCS provides counseling and budgeting assistance to help individuals better manage their finances and avoid foreclosure. They can also negotiate with creditors to obtain lower interest rates, waive fees, or develop payment plans on behalf of their clients. Contingency. A contingency in real estate refers to a condition or requirement that must be met in order for a contract or transaction to proceed. Common contingencies in real estate contracts include the buyer's ability to obtain financing, the outcome of a home inspection, or the sale of the buyer's existing property. If a contingency is not met, the contract may be terminated or renegotiated. Contract. A contract in real estate is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties, such as a buyer and a seller or a landlord and a tenant. A contract outlines the terms and conditions of the transaction, including the price, the property description, and the rights and obligations of each party. To be valid, a contract must be voluntary, mutual, and supported by consideration. Contract for deed. A contract for deed is a legal agreement between a buyer and a seller of real estate in which the seller finances the purchase of the property instead of a traditional lender. The buyer makes payments directly to the seller over a period of time, typically several years, until the purchase price is paid in full and the title of the property is transferred to the buyer. Contract for deed agreements may be used as an alternative to traditional mortgage financing, especially when the buyer cannot obtain a mortgage due to poor credit or lack of a down payment. Contract for exchange of real estate. A contract for exchange of real estate, also known as a swap or a trade, is a legal agreement between two parties to exchange real property instead of buying and selling it for cash. The agreement outlines the terms and conditions of the exchange, including the properties being exchanged, their values, and any other considerations. Contract for exchange of real estate may be used to achieve specific goals, such as tax benefits, diversification of real estate portfolios, or consolidation of ownership. Contract of sale. A contract of sale, also known as a purchase agreement or sales contract, is a legally binding agreement between a buyer and a seller of real estate that outlines the terms and conditions of the transaction. The contract of sale includes information such as the purchase price, the closing date, the property description, and any contingencies or conditions that must be met for the sale to proceed. Once both parties have signed the contract of sale, it becomes legally binding, and both parties are obligated to fulfill their obligations under the terms of the agreement. Conventional loan. A conventional loan is a type of mortgage loan that is not insured or guaranteed by a government agency, such as the Federal Housing Administration, FHA, or the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA. Instead, conventional loans are backed by private lenders and investors and typically require a higher down payment and stricter credit qualifications than government-backed loans. Conventional loans may be either conforming or non-conforming, depending on whether they meet the guidelines established by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Conveyance. Conveyance refers to the transfer of ownership or title of real property from one party to another. This can occur through a sale, gift, inheritance, or other legal means. The term conveyance may also refer to the legal document, such as a deed or bill of sale, that is used to transfer ownership or title. Cooperative housing. Cooperative housing, or co-op for short, is a type of residential community where residents own shares in a corporation that owns the entire property rather than owning individual units outright. Each shareholder has the right to occupy a specific unit, and the corporation is responsible for managing and maintaining the property. Co-op residents typically pay monthly maintenance fees that cover their share of the corporation's expenses, such as mortgage payments, property taxes, and maintenance costs. Cooperative sale. A cooperative sale refers to the sale of shares in a cooperative housing corporation rather than the sale of a physical unit or property. When a buyer purchases a cooperative share, they become a shareholder in the corporation that owns the property, and they are granted the right to occupy a specific unit within the building. The sale is typically subject to the approval of the corporation's board of directors, and the buyer may be required to meet certain eligibility criteria. Cost approach to value. The cost approach to value is a method used in real estate appraisal to estimate the value of a property by considering the cost of reproducing or replacing the property. The approach takes into account the cost of land, labor, materials, and other factors that would be required to rebuild the property from scratch, and then adjust the value based on the property's age, condition, and other relevant factors. Counteroffer. A counteroffer in real estate occurs when a seller responds to a buyer's offer with modified terms that are different from the original offer. This modified offer constitutes a new offer, which the buyer may choose to accept, reject, or make a counteroffer in return. Counteroffers can continue until both parties reach an agreement or either party chooses to end negotiations. Nice work! You just studied 50 terms.
Don't forget to share this video with your friends and subscribe for more practice tests.